In a small, forgotten village lived a boy named Daniel. Daniel was only 12 years old, but life had already taught him lessons that many adults never learn. Daniel was poor, very poor. His clothes were old and torn, his shoes had holes in them. Sometimes he went to bed hungry, listening to his stomach cry in the dark. He lived in a small mud house at the edge of the village with his sick mother, Mary. Daniel's father had died when he was very young. Since that day, life became harder and harder. His mother worked as a cleaner in rich houses, but her health was weak. Some days she could not even stand. There was no one to support Daniel. No relatives, no money, no help. Only dreams. Every morning, Daniel woke up before sunrise. He helped his mother, fetched water, cleaned the house, and then ran to school. He loved school more than anything. But school was not kind to him. Other children laughed at his clothes. They mocked his broken bag. They whispered behind his back. "Poor boy," they said, "he will never become anything." Daniel heard their words, but he stayed silent. He believed that silence was stronger than anger. One day, his teacher, Mr. Robert, noticed Daniel sitting alone after class. "Daniel," he said gently, "why do you always stay back?" Daniel looked down and replied, "Sir, I don't have books at home. I study here." Mr. Robert felt a pain in his heart. He knew Daniel was different. The boy was hardworking, polite, and intelligent, but life had not been fair to him. One rainy evening, Daniel returned home to find his mother lying on the floor. She was unconscious. Daniel panicked. "Mother, mother!" he cried. With the help of neighbors, he took her to a small clinic. The doctor looked serious. "She needs medicine and rest," the doctor said, "but it will cost money." Daniel had no money. He walked out of the clinic with tears in his eyes. That night, he sat outside under the rain, feeling completely alone. "I have no support," he whispered. "No one cares." For the first time in his life, Daniel felt broken. But then he remembered his mother's words. "Daniel," she once said, "never give up. Even the darkest night ends with sunrise." Those words changed something inside him. The next morning, Daniel made a decision. He decided to work. After school, he started doing small jobs. He cleaned shops, washed cars, carried heavy bags at the market, and worked in farms. His hands became rough, and his body became tired, but his heart stayed strong. Every coin he earned, he saved for his mother's medicine. At night, after work, Daniel still studied. Under a small oil lamp, he read borrowed books. His eyes burned with pain, but he refused to sleep. "I will change my life," he told himself. "I will not stay poor forever." Life tested Daniel many times. Some shop owners refused to pay him. Some people insulted him. Some days he earned nothing. Once, a man shouted at him, "Go away, you are useless." Daniel walked away silently, but inside, his heart cried. Still, he did not stop. He failed many times, but he learned something important. Failure is not the end. It is a lesson. One afternoon, Mr. Roberts saw Daniel working at a grocery shop. "Daniel, why are you working here?" he asked. Daniel explained everything. Mr. Robert was deeply moved. The next day, he gave Daniel some old books and said, "Knowledge is the greatest wealth. Never stop learning." Those books became Daniel's treasure. He studied harder than ever before. Months passed. Daniel's marks improved. He became one of the best students in the class. People who once laughed at him now looked at him with surprise. One day, the school announced a district-level scholarship exam. The winner would receive free education and financial support. Daniel wanted to try, but fear stopped him. "What if I fail?" he thought. Then he remembered his journey, the hunger, the pain, the hard work. "I have nothing to lose," he said. Daniel studied day and night. Sometimes he fell asleep on his books. Sometimes he cried quietly, but he never gave up. The exam day arrived. Daniel entered the hall with shaking hands but a strong heart. He did his best. Weeks later, the results were announced. Mr. Robert came running to Daniel's house. "Daniel!" he shouted happily. "You did it!" Daniel had topped the exam. He won the scholarship. Daniel fell to his knees and cried, not from sadness, but from joy. That night, he held his mother's hand and said, "Mother, we will be okay now." For the first time in years, they slept without worry. With the scholarship, Daniel continued his education. He went to a good college in the city. Life was still hard, but now he had hope. He worked part-time and studied full-time. Slowly, step by step, he built a better future. Years passed. Daniel became an engineer, but he never forgot his past. One day, Daniel returned to his village. People were shocked to see how far he had come. He built a small learning center for poor children. He gave free books, free classes, and free hope. Standing in front of the children, Daniel said, "I was once like you, poor, alone, afraid, but I believed in myself, and so should you." The children listened with shining eyes. Daniel's life teaches us something important. You don't need support to start. You need courage. You don't need money to dream. You need belief. And you don't need a perfect life to succeed. You need determination. He had nothing, but he became something. Your situation does not define you. Your actions do. No matter how poor you are, no matter how alone you feel, never give up. Because what you do next can inspire the world.